Van Deeb, a dynamic leader with decades of experience building companies and crushing sales. He's been there and done that.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello. My name is Van Deeb.
Inspiring audiences across the country to do it too. Here's Van.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Van Deeb podcast. I'm so glad you joined me today. Before we get started with our content, please subscribe to this podcast so you get it in your inbox twice a month. And that way you will have the latest information on how to succeed in business and in life. Today, we're going to talk about testimonials. As you know, most of you know my background. I have been in real estate for 42 years. That's a long time. And I started out my career with no mentors, no anything. I had $500 in my pocket, and I just had a lot of drive, desire, determination, discipline. And I made the decision that I wanted to be really good. So I busted my tail, and here I am with you today in the last decade, telling people and helping people become the best version of themselves in business. So everything that I preach about, I've experienced. So you're not getting somebody that's telling you secondhand news from somebody else. I'm telling you what works and what hasn't worked, and hopefully will encourage you to implement ideas to become better at what you do for a living. So this is a business show. The Van Deeb podcast is all about business. However, we incorporate ways to change our personal life so we can become better in our business life. So I want to talk to you today about testimonials. You know, we live in a world right now with AI, and with AI comes fake, becomes, where people aren't sure if that's real or not. Or, when they read a review, is that AI generated? Is it an actual review? Is this company okay to do business with? Or is all this that I'm reading about them complete BS? What I'd like to do is to help you incorporate new ways to let your customers and future customers know just how good you are at doing business. So I want to give you some examples, just like I do in my book, The Power of Asking. Chapter 7 in The Power of Asking talks about asking for testimonials. We don't do that enough. I was recently giving a speech to 250 salespeople, and I asked everybody to give me a show of hands of if they've asked for testimonials in the last 6 months. And I had 3 people raise their hand. That's sad. Testimonials basically will be a catalyst in you getting new business. Because of what I said earlier with AI and all these things that aren't true and fake media posts, testimonials are real. Testimonials tell your potential client, hey, he's okay to do business with. So I want to give you an example, like I've done in my book, The Power of Asking, Chapter 7. When I have a closing and my buyers say to me, Van, thank you very much. We really enjoyed our experience working with you. I immediately say, I'm so grateful that you feel that way. However, the best way to thank me is, would you mind giving me a written testimonial? Or better yet, can I get a video testimonial, just a 1-minute testimonial on what you liked working with me? And I want to tell you something. It works. And then you broadcast that all over social media. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You really don't want it scripted. And you may have to prompt your client, especially if you do a video testimonial. And if they say, well, what should I say? Just say, I really enjoyed working with Van Deeb. He was very responsive. He helped us get the home of our dreams. Something along those lines. And that way, you're helping them with the content. Always offer that, because a lot of people are nervous to get on camera and to do a video testimonial. Help them out. If they say, yeah, I'll be glad to give you a written testimonial, what would you like me to say? And let me just tell you what I do. I say, you know what? I know you're busy, and instead of having you have to come up with things, how about if I write the testimonial and you approve it if you feel that was accurate? Everybody says yes. So then I write up the testimonial, what I think they'd like to say, send it to them, and I say, hey, do you approve of this, that I can put your name on it? 9 out of 10 times, or almost 10 out of 10, they're going to say, yep, it's perfect as written, or no, tweak it this way. The power of a testimonial is huge in today's world. It lets people know that person's okay to do business with. Why do you think people look at reviews? Now they look at reviews more than ever because they want to see what other people are saying. That's the only reason people look at reviews. However, because of AI today, I'm hearing more and more that there's fake reviews out there. So a video testimonial or a written endorsement, a testimonial that you can put on your social media. And I'm a big, big believer in just mass broadcasting on social media. One of the biggest reasons is it's free. Where else can you go and market your business and put everything out there without spending a dime? Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of that will help you get you to where you want to go. In my business, I didn't grow up where I had somebody saying, this is how you become a good business person. This is how you become a good salesperson. I had to figure it out. So I had to fail. And fail's okay. If you make any mistakes, you just don't make the same mistake twice. Learn from the things that you've done wrong. And I really preach that, because here's the thing. When you're in business and you're in sales or service, like the majority of us are, you don't have to be great to get started. You just have to get started to end up being great. Now, when I got in business, and I've owned one of the largest real estate companies in the United States, and I sold it to my general manager. I was fortunate enough to retire, and that lasted about 30 minutes. I'm not meant to retire. I'm meant to help people get to where they want to go and live a blessed life like I have. So I even built another real estate company in Omaha, Nebraska called Prime Home Realty. I'm keeping this company super small so we can keep it a family culture and not get too big like the last company. But when we're in business, we constantly need to ask people for help. When I'm getting testimonials, basically what I'm doing is I'm getting people out there working for me. That testimonial that John and Judy Happy Customer wrote, they're basically salespeople out there for me. It's all over the media. It's all over social media. And basically, I've got people out there that are trying to help me become successful. We have to ask people for help in our industry, which is why I wrote the book, The Power of Asking. There's some great anecdotes in here that will help you become more successful by asking people to help you. I really believe in this. I've spent my entire career engaging people to get involved and to help me build my business. And you're not asking for money. You're not asking for any material things. You're not asking for, somebody to pick you up at 3 a.m. All you're asking for is, if you know anybody that could use my services, I can't tell you how grateful I'd be if you referred me. That's what the power of asking is all about. And then common sense selling. There's a lot of great takeaways in there about becoming better. I always say, if you can read one book and you get one takeaway, it was worth the $19 or whatever it costs. Now, these books you can get at my website at vandeeb.com, and they'll be shipped out to you. You'll have it in 2 days. And I guarantee what I write, which means that if you don't get something out of one of my books, I'll give you your money back. That's just been my policy forever. And in my 30-some years of being an author, guess how many times people have asked for their money back? 0. No one has ever asked for their money back, and no authors usually do that. There's no authors out there that say, hey, if you don't like my book, I'll give you your money back. I do that because that's how confident I am that you'll get some takeaways from one of these 2 books. I've written several, but these are my favorites. So you can order them at vandeeb.com. So on testimonials, you're basically telling your future clients, these people really like doing business with me, and you will too. And I would even go as far as on social media, make a post. Nobody's doing this, and I don't understand it because it really generates more business at whatever your service is or whatever type of sales you're in or in leadership. Make a post with several testimonials from people that have done business with you, your company, your service, and get permission. Say, hey, can I get permission to put your name under this testimonial and use it for my advertising? Most people are going to say, okay. Now, if some people say, you know what, you can use Mark and Sandy, but I really don't want you to use my last name because I don't want people contacting me. Fine. We'll be happy to do it that way. So be creative. Matter of fact, the way I learn how to do things and be more creative is I invite you to get a pad and paper. And a lot of you that have seen my podcast for years and years know I always recommend getting a pad and paper. Why? Because we forget things, especially if you're entrepreneurs like I know most of you are and like you know I am. We forget great ideas. So keep a pad and paper somewhere like your kitchen table or a place you walk by every day. And at the top, put ideas for testimonials. And start making a list of things, that ideas and marketing strategies that you can use to help benefit your business. And don't forget, the majority of what I ask you to do to help build your business and to help grow your company or your sales is always free. I'm never giving you suggestions on doing things that cost money, because you can have the same results as people that are spending a fortune. You might have to work a little harder and spend more time posting, but if you have the time and it's worth it, I highly recommend it. So some other ways of getting testimonials to work for you is, I want to give you an example. Let's say, I'm going to use this as an example, but please find a way to implement it in what you're doing in your career. I'm going to use real estate because that's my background the last 42 years. Let's say that there's a top agent, like one of the top agents in your city, and you're in the mortgage business, and you've been trying to get that top agent to do business with you for years, and he hasn't thrown you one buyer. He hasn't given you one mortgage, but you want him really bad. Now you're the mortgage guy. We're using this as an example. Find a client. The mortgage person should find a client that is really pleased with his service or her service, and ask the client, say, hey, Mr. Client, there's a real estate agent in Omaha, where I live, let's just say that I've really wanted to do business with for years and years and years, and he's never thrown me a bone. Would you do me a favor and write a letter to him? Now, that's something you never hear, but it works. would you do me a favor and write a letter to him? Tell him that you recently bought a home and you used me as your mortgage person and how much you enjoyed the experience. And have him add, maybe you write it for him. Maybe, and of course, usually that person will give you permission to let you write it for him. And you can put in the body of the letter, apparently you're somebody that this real estate agent wants to do business with, that this mortgage person wants to do business with really badly because he talks about you, he admires you, and he really wants to do business with you. So I wanted to let you know what an enjoyable experience I had getting my mortgage through Mr. Mortgage Person. This is the type of testimonials that people will read. I guarantee you none of you have done that because I've never seen it done. But I've suggested that over the course of my career to mortgage professionals to do that, to try to get the attention of one of the top realtors that they want to do business with. Other people saying, I've done business with that person and they're really good and you should do business with them too. It bears a lot of fruit. A lot of great things will come from it. So you know the mindset I'm trying to give you. I preach to salespeople and service people nonstop. And you know, even my own people at Prime Home Realty. Now, I'm one of the few people out there that are still on the streets helping people buy and sell homes in Omaha, Nebraska. Why do I do that when I don't need to? Because I want to be relevant. I want to be able to tell service and salespeople that I'm out there doing it too. So challenges that they have when I'm speaking to them, I can relate to. I'm on the same page. So many people in my position say things like, oh yeah, 20 years ago when I was in sales or 20 years ago when I was in service. I want to use my God-given skill set on a daily basis, not just to benefit my clients and not just to fill my own pockets, but it's going to benefit the sales and service people that I preach to. And speaking of that, I would be thrilled to come to your company and do a workshop. And if you're an entrepreneur and it's just yourself, maybe you get a group of people together and I'll do a workshop on a topic that you need help with. I will guarantee that my workshops will result in you increasing your market share at whatever your business is in. I customize my speeches to every industry. I've anywhere from the people that work at Union Pacific to Aflac to small mom and pop shops to large corporations and to very small. And you can reach me on my email is the best way, van@vandeeb.com, or you can go to vandeeb.com and there's a contact page and I get an email with your information. But these type of topics that I talk about on the Van Deeb Business Podcast are for one reason, because these are characteristics that will help you become better as a salesperson, a service person, a leader, and a business owner. I really believe that we're all on a level playing field. God didn't make anybody better than the next person. We have the ability to become anything we want to become. I've seen people transform themselves that have had a rotten week, a rotten month, a rotten year. I sit down with them. I help them make a decision to be great. And that's what it is. You hear me talk about the 5 Ds in a lot of these podcasts. Drive, got to have that. Desire, if you don't have that, stay in bed. Determination, if you're not determined to be successful, no one's going to do it for you. Discipline, if you don't create the discipline, you have no flight path. Creating a discipline every day to have a routine, a regimented routine to help you get to where you want to go. And last but not least is decision. When you make a decision, I'm tired of being average. I'm tired of being paycheck to paycheck. I want to be great. I want to be really good at what I do. Well, these 2 books will help you get there, and get them at vandeeb.com. But mostly it's going to be in your head. When you make a decision that you want to be great, all these new opportunities will be coming to you. Now I want to go back to the testimonials. This is one area that will help you be great. So if you make a decision today, I want to build my business, and one way I'm going to do it is I'm going to get people, past clients. I don't care if they bought something from you 5 years ago. You can still call and say, can I use a testimonial from you? And some people like to be on camera. They'll be thrilled to say, yeah, I'll be glad to do a video for you. So you get my drift today. My message is utilize your past clients. A lot of times your past clients are your best source for your next prospect. They just are. Stay in touch with your past client. Ask them to give you an endorsement, a written testimonial, or a video testimonial. I'm telling you, it works, and it works. I want to say one last thing is make sure that you've subscribed. And I'm going to ask you to do one other thing. Not only subscribe on the Van Deeb podcast, but share this today. Share this with somebody you know, and I know you know somebody that could use a little uplift, that could use a little I can do it type of attitude, and send them this. Share this podcast with them today, and I promise you they'll get back and thank you for it. I'm going to thank you for taking your valuable time to watch the Van Deeb podcast, and please reach out to me with comments. If I can be of any help to you, if I can come speak to your team, your company, vandeeb.com, van@vandeeb.com, and I am grateful that you took the time to spend it with me. So thanks for watching the Van Deeb podcast.